Now, a real man who's helped us a lot in understanding American politics is the former Republican congressman and Newsmax columnist and all-round sage and pundit, the great John LeBoutillier, who's joining us to review what happened on Tuesday. John, welcome back to the show, my friend.
Well, George, hello. How are you this morning?
Well, marvellous. I'm a bit better than Barack Obama and co. Tell us, just how bad was it?
Yeah. Well, as you well know, it was very bad for the Democratic Party, bad for Obama himself. In the short run, I'll get to the long run in a minute. They've lost the House. They've lost operational control of the Senate. They've lost many governorships and state legislatures. And we have this system here. I'm not sure how it works in Great Britain, but here, every 10 years, we take a census of our population. So that was done in 2010, this year. That's going to be finished. The census data is then given to each state, and the state legislatures and the governors of each state take the updated information of how many people live in that state, and they use it to redraw the lines for each congressional district, assembly district, and state senate district.
We call it gerrymandering. What do you call it over there?
Same thing, and it's named after Governor Elbridge Gerry, with a hard G, by the way, in those days. Governor Gerry was the governor of Massachusetts when they started this redistricting thing back in the 1800s and 1700s. And what they did was that he drew a district one time that was crazy, and it looked like a salamander. It had the shape of a salamander. And some reporter took it and made the word gerrymander.
All right. I didn't realize that.
And that's going to go on in a lot of states where the Republicans have taken over this week. So when you add it all up for the Democrats, frankly, it was a fiasco for the party. Now, for Obama, because Obama's directly elected, as you well know, I'm telling people all the time, Obama couldn't care less about what happened on Tuesday. He only cares about his own reelection. And in a funny way, having the Republicans back in power helps Obama for 2012. Because it gives him something to run against, it gives him people to demonize and blame, and make himself look good in contrast to them.
That's very interesting. It's looking on the bright side of what was a very dark picture. Let me add one thing to that, John. The demographics of those who stayed away from the polls are very interesting. The percentage of young people voting fell markedly from 2 years ago. The percentage of African Americans voting fell markedly. The percentage of older people voting rose markedly. And the proportion of independents going for the Democrats fell markedly too. So there are a number of factors there that can be reversed in the kind of circumstances you've just described, aren't there?
Well, yeah. Now, a couple of points about that. First of all, when we have a midterm election here, we always have a smaller turnout than a presidential election. So that's to be expected. The young usually don't vote in off-year or midterm elections. They vote when they vote more heavily in presidential years. But if I were Barack Obama looking at 2012 and my reelection, he will definitely be renominated as the Democratic nominee. So he's halfway to being reelected, while the Republicans are going to rip themselves apart, and I'd love to talk to you about that too, but that's a separate issue for a minute. While Obama is going to be nominated, and he'll have a lot of money because he's the president. He'll raise an extraordinary amount of money. He has problems because I'm not sure the young who are now out of work and hopeless about getting jobs, if the economy doesn't recover substantially in 2 years or a year and a half, he's not going to get that same percentage of the young this time to vote for him. He will get the African-American vote 95%, absolutely guaranteed. The old people are not going to go with him if the economy's bad because they're hurting. And the independent voter, which is the key to winning an election over here, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you can't get enough votes from your own party. You have to get the majority of the independent voters, which are the biggest bloc now. He got them in 2008. His party lost them big time on Tuesday. He's going to have to really work, but he could get them back by 2012, but he needs to take a lot of actions, and he needs the Republicans to screw up some to drive people away.
That's the point I was leading to on that the independents will be heavily influenced, I presume, by who the Republicans put forward. And if the Republicans put forward, I just pluck a name from the air, Sarah Palin, about whom we've spoken before. But I tell you, this afternoon on my television show, I interviewed a professor of American Studies, one of the most prestigious professors, Ewan Morgan, in London. He said he was sure that Palin was going to run. Now, that would be enough to scare any independent back into the Democratic column, no?
Yes, I think the biggest dream of the Obama White House would be for Palin to run for president for two reasons. Number one, in order for her to win the nomination, it'll be so ugly and messy inside the Republican primaries between traditional Republicans and the Tea Party Palin lovers that they will rip the Republican Party in half. And if she emerges, George, as the Republican nominee, she cannot win. She can't beat Obama. There's new polling out today that shows that of the top Republicans, and this means nothing 2 years away, but just it's a snapshot, Romney and Huckabee both beat Obama today by about 8 or 9 points. But he beats Palin by about 10 points.
Uh-huh.
So Palin is damaged goods, and Palin did not have that good a day on Tuesday.
No, because the most extreme Tea Party types with whom she's been cavorting didn't win, did they?
No, well, the three big things that were bad for her. Nevada, where Harry Reid, the majority leader, survived in a year that he should have been defeated. It was this woman, Sharon Angle, who was the weakest of the Republicans, who won the primary. She lost to Harry Reid badly, by the way. She's a big favorite of Palin. Same thing in Delaware, a seat we could have won. Christine O'Donnell, a clone of Palin, she got annihilated. And then in the biggest setback of all for Palin, in her home state of Alaska, Senator Lisa Murkowski, a Republican, who lost the Republican primary this summer to a Tea Party Sarah Palin person named Joe Miller. Lisa Murkowski kept running anyway as a write-in candidate, which means over here, I don't know if you have it, but
we don't know.
Voters can go into the voting booth. Well, they can go in the voting booth and write in the name of Lisa Murkowski. And as of tonight, it looks like Lisa Murkowski has won a substantial victory over the Palin candidate.
Very interesting.
Palin's home state. Yeah.
That's very, very interesting. And that's quite a long and difficult name to write in.
Yeah, well, you know what she did? She was very clever, Lisa Murkowski. She made wristbands, thousands of wristbands, with her name written on it. It says, write in Lisa Murkowski, this sort of purple wristband. And they gave them out for a month all over Alaska. And people had them on their wrist, and you walk in, and then there's the name, and you just copy it onto the ballot.
Very, very clever. Well, look, we're going to have to talk again. John, have you checked your emails? I wrote to you this afternoon.
I didn't get it. I'm looking right now. No, I never got it, George.
John LeBout.
John LeBout at AOL.com.
There you are. Check. I sent it about 5 hours ago. Anyway, I'll send another copy. Thanks very much. John LeBoutillier, our sage from the United States. Tell me what you think about what he had to say in reviewing the U.S. elections on Tuesday.